turn this AC down. It's almost 100 degrees up in here. All right. So for today, talking about what makes a well-paid man. Yeah. Okay. So I'm 28. Name's Nicholas. Out here in Arizona. For all of you desert folks, hey, go ahead and throw in like Nevada and a lot of parts of California right about now too. All of that drought action going on over there. But yeah, I'm 28 and I make $114 a year from my primary job, which is an estimator. And I have been in estimating and project management for the past 5 years in the civilian world, as well as another like 4.5, almost 5 years that I did it in the Air Force. So yeah, getting close to 10 years here. And over that time frame, we'll push it back just a little bit to right before I went to the Air Force. I was a underpaid man, still a good man, but highly underpaid. I'd say the most that I made before going into the Air Force was like $9 an hour, which who can even like really live off of that? And that was at this warehouse called Black & Decker. It sucked. Oh yeah, and for you guys who are at a warehouse right now or a more crappy job that I'll talk about kind of later on and whatnot, like there's no reason why you can't be doing what I do. I don't need a bachelor's degree to do what I do. I don't need a clean record to do what I do. I'm almost certain that I've worked with a few felons that were estimators in the past. And, that company that I specifically worked at, they just so happened to be willing to hire ex-felons and, whatever. And I guess you don't really necessarily need to be the smartest person in the world ever, really, to do what I do. So that's where I was, hating life, putting boxes here that were once there, like putting some labels on some stuff, and it sucked. I think they called that picking, from what I remember, where you pick a box and then you take a label and you slap it on the box and then you move on to the next one. Or really, they come down a conveyor belt, so they're constantly getting fed to you. So I did this my senior year of high school, hated it. And this might have actually kind of stretched into right after. No, I think this would have been in high school. Maybe it was like a summer or something like that. But anyway, so I was doing that. And before that, I had done a lot, Bojangles here. I think I may have worked at maybe McDonald's once or some other fast food. I worked at a Moe's that was in the Epicenter, which is this like large get-together, nice kind of really nice up area in Charlotte right now. And it all sucked. Like taking trash, taking crap from drunk and stupid customers. You know, you guys are customers, so not to say much about you guys, but those guys on those weekends and whenever else I was working sucked. So yeah, but you know, we've all been there. I'm kind of preaching to the choir. I'm pretty sure everybody who knows or has been around or is listening to this, you know, has worked a crappy job. It's just part of life. So did that for a while, you know, throughout my high school years. I even ran my own little small business in high school, cleaning shoes and stuff like that. Be pretty interesting to have seen it, you know, where that would have gone or something like that. But it is what it is. So I decided to get serious, I guess, about my life, or you know, whatever, and went on into the Air Force. And that was a great time. But I was still broke, man. I ain't had no money, man. I was broke, man. You know? Like, I think when me and my wife got married, I think they were giving us like $1,200 every 2 weeks or something crazy like that. Like, what? $600 a week. $600 a week? What we gonna do with that? Throw it away? I mean, pretty much that's kind of what we did with it, honestly. I mean, kind of, well, not really. I mean, and we'll talk money on this too. So I started investing in a 40, or not the 401k, but it was actually a 2050 life fund. And so what a fund is, and you know, investing in general, if you haven't heard for whatever reason, for retirement, when you turn 59 and a half, there's accounts that you can get anywhere, Fidelity, with your employer right now, where you can save money and you make a lot more money because your money is beating the market, which inflation is like, I don't know, 9%, something stupid right now. And the market, at least according to Dave Ramsey, can average with a good 11 to 12% over how many ever decades, and you make money on that transaction. So throwing money into there, and the 2050 life fund, just to kind of go back to where I was just at, is a bunch of mutual funds, or you know, a bunch of different stocks basically that are put together and kind of set to a way to where over your lifetime it should, I think, adjust, at least the one that I got from the military, with very low fees for the handling of it, but it should adjust to where I'm at during my life. So you want to have you basically want to have the amount of bonds that you have in your portfolio for investing as your age. So, you know, when I was 25, I should have like 25% bonds, and then the rest stocks, because stocks are riskier, bonds are less riskier. So whenever I'm younger, I can, of course, you know, recuperate my losses over time. So it kind of sets it over that, but that's kind of, you know, neither here or there. So I was able to put money into that. I was able to get a car, take my wife out, or my soon-to-be wife, and then dating before that period. And, you know, put a little bit of a savings away too every month or so, and kind of be able to help people back home too. So I was able to do a little bit here and there, but realistically, like, if you take everything into account, to include the fact that they pay for your health care, maybe 50,000 is what we were looking at the time, which no wonder we was under that pressure, you know? And there's no working overtime in the Air Force. You might want to go get you another job, maybe. You get out of serving your country and you got to go work at McDonald's, brother. That's crazy. But it's also the reality of the situation. So, got through that, did my 4, and decided to go into what I'm doing now, what I had basically been doing then. I just didn't know the civilian name for it or whatever. I knew my MOS, which is your job in the military, but not how it translates out here in the real world. So got into estimating and project management, started making $42,500, which ain't no money. I was a broke man. That ain't good. But my wife and I had just moved here to Arizona. At the time, cost of living was pretty cheap, so it wasn't really that big of a hassle. Kind of sucks for whoever's transitioning right about now into Arizona. And I just started moving my way up. So I went from 42.5 to 52.5. And I had the next company that I worked at, and that kind of felt a little better, but I really noticed it whenever we went from that 52.5, we went up to 54 before I left the company after getting a raise. Which, what sort of raise is that? That ain't even beating inflation, bro. What am I gonna do with that? That's what, 2,000, 1,500? Yeah, 1,500. That's trash. Anyway, so I do what you're supposed to do, and then went on ahead and got me a clean 82. Or hold up, I think I started at 79.5, I think, and then I moved my way to 72 or 82.5. But anyways, right around $80,000. So it was a massive jump, basically, to be going from 54,000 to right around 80,000. Whew. It was like I could breathe just a little bit. That's kind of what it feels like, man. Like that's dang near double, like, or starting to get almost near double at that point. So you really can feel that jump whenever you make it, whenever you get there. Maybe you come right out of college and hit something like that. But so after that point, I went to my next company, which is right at 100, and that felt, obviously even better. It almost felt like getting them checks during the, I think we can say pandemic. Yeah, so anyways, it almost felt like getting them checks, them stimulus checks. Them things was a fool, man. Anyway, so, yeah. And then, now 114. So I can definitely feel it. Am I really that well paid? I mean, realistic. I know that there are other numbers than 114. There's a million. There's a few billion, those are also numbers. And there are also people making that. So, but, in due time, for future me, in due time, brother, you'll get there. But anyway, yeah. And as for you guys, comment, like, share, subscribe, but especially comment. What do you make? What do you think is actually a decent salary? Like, tell me if I'm on some BS, because I don't know what I'm talking about. over here making this little measly change that you over here making. I'm definitely still exchanging my time for money, that's for sure. Which is rough. But I recognize that at least. You know, make changes. One of the things that I was just looking at yesterday, or you know, more recently, is about people leaving their job to do YouTube full time, and or people trying to get people to not leave their jobs full time. So especially to the younger people who haven't necessarily, you know, developed maturity and stuff like that yet to know what happens if you just decide to go leap out there without health insurance and money saved and really good plans and systems in order and stuff like that. But yeah, I think anywhere between like 80 and 100, you're pretty well paid. You know, especially, I mean, it's according to what part of the country you're in. If you're in California, man, that's finna get eaten. You honestly probably need a good 200. Just being realistic, but you know, who am I? I mean, the house prices is about $1 million out there, and I know that they $500,000 here, and I know that we're still looking like to them mortgage prices on a $500,000 house at 114. So what are you looking at $1 million? That's rough. That's real rough. For pretty much anybody, probably. But I am. And then you go, you know, over to my hometown, Charlotte, North Carolina. Man, oh man, that got some buying power, as they say. Especially if it was to look at anything in Raleigh. This stuff is a little bit cheaper at, like, dang. But then if that's the case, then I need to give my family a call over in Texas, because out there in Texas, it's just as good of pricing, I would think, if not a little bit better, especially in Austin, where the housing market kind of did what it's doing in Florida right about now, collapsed a little bit because people started to kind of pull back from moving there as much. 114 would look beautiful. But then you have to start taking into account what can you make in those states for your job and everything else in between. But I guess that none of that really matters if you know, looking to buying property or other assets that you can obtain in a state where your money goes further, while you're living in a state where your money ain't going nowhere. But you know, just money stuff, man. Real life, retirement, investing, working a job, negotiating your salary. You saw how I moved around. Not just sitting around and just taking any old thing for years on end. Just because you like people or something? You like your coworkers? That's crazy. Just playing. I'm just playing, y'all. You know, chill, man. Chill. Yeah. But you know, if you're some like whoever, and your life isn't there yet, you know, you can't necessarily think of rent the same way I think of, or you know, the same way you may think of like going to the store and getting gas, right? Like you go to the gas station, get gas, you don't even really look to see what you pumped, because whatever, how much ever it needs to get filled up. Well, think about that, but for like rent. Like, what if you just didn't really care what got withdrawn or whatever, and you could live comfortably? We can't rent out no mansion. I mean, you still gotta live within your means, that's for sure. But, you know, hey, let me know. Hit my line, or, you know, at least the comment box, and share, man. Share. If you liked it, share. You know, push it out to somebody. All right. Check the links in the description below. Get in contact with me if you would like to do consulting to kind of get where I am right now. Probably can do that for you.